The legend of the Christmas truce. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a big war. This war was called the Great War, and it was very scary. It happened in a faraway place called Europe. Soldiers from many countries were fighting. They were very tired and very sad because they had to be away from their homes and families for so long. The soldiers on both sides had to live in trenches. Trenches are like big, long ditches in the ground where the soldiers stayed to keep safe. The ground was muddy, and the air was very cold. It was hard for the soldiers to keep warm, and they missed their families so much. On Christmas Eve, something magical happened. The night was very quiet, and the stars were shining bright in the sky. The soldiers were thinking about their homes, their warm beds, and the Christmas trees that they used to decorate with their families. Suddenly, the soldiers from one side heard something strange. It was the sound of singing. The soldiers from the other side were singing Christmas carols. The carols were songs about peace and joy. The soldiers in the trenches listened carefully. They heard the familiar words of Silent Night and O Holy Night. The beautiful music filled the air, and the soldiers felt a little warmer inside. They decided to join in the singing. Soon, both sides were singing together, even though they were supposed to be enemies. The voices of the soldiers blended together, creating a harmony that reached the heavens. The singing brought a sense of comfort and unity among the men who had been fighting each other just moments before. As the night went on, something even more amazing happened. The soldiers on both sides started to peek out of their trenches. They were very careful at first, but they could see that the other soldiers were just like them. They wore similar clothes, they had the same tired faces, and they all wanted to go home to their families for Christmas. The soldiers realized that they shared more in common than they thought. One brave soldier from one side took a chance. He stood up and walked out into the space between the trenches. This space was called No Man's Land because it was dangerous. But this soldier was very brave. He held up his hand to show that he wanted to be friends. The soldiers on the other side saw him, and they decided to be brave too. They came out of their trenches and met in the middle. Soon, soldiers from both sides were shaking hands, sharing smiles, and even exchanging little gifts. As the soldiers gathered in No Man's Land, they began to talk to each other. They shared stories about their homes, their families, and their lives before the war. Some gave each other chocolates, others shared pictures of their families, and some even played games together. They realized that they were not so different after all. They had the same hopes and dreams, and they all longed for peace. For that one special night and the next day, there was no fighting. The soldiers laughed, sang, and even played a game of soccer. They made friends with each other and forgot about the war for a little while. It was a Christmas miracle, and everyone felt the true spirit of Christmas: peace, love, and kindness. The soldiers from different countries came together to celebrate the holiday, creating memories that would last a lifetime. The soccer game was a joyful event. The soldiers used an old tin can as a ball, and they marked the goals with their helmets. They played with laughter and cheers, forgetting about the war for a few precious hours. The game ended in a friendly draw, and both sides shook hands, promising to remember this special moment. As the sun set on Christmas Day, the soldiers knew that they would have to return to their trenches and continue the war. But they never forgot that special Christmas. They remembered that even in the hardest times, it is possible to find a moment of peace and friendship. They carried the memory of the Christmas truce in their hearts, a symbol of hope and humanity amidst the chaos of war. In the days that followed, the soldiers exchanged letters and stories about the truce with their families. They wrote about the songs they sang, the games they played, and the friends they made. The Christmas truce became a legend, a story passed down through generations, reminding people of the power of kindness and the possibility of peace. The story of the Christmas truce spread far and wide. People around the world were touched by the soldiers' bravery and compassion. They were inspired to believe that even in the darkest times, there is always hope for a better future. The Christmas truce showed that no matter how different we may seem, we all want the same things: love, peace, and happiness. As years went by, the memory of the Christmas truce continued to inspire acts of kindness and goodwill. People remembered the soldiers' courage and their willingness to reach out to their enemies in the spirit of Christmas. The story became a reminder that peace is always possible, even in the midst of conflict. And that, dear children, is the story of the Christmas truce. It reminds us that no matter how different we may seem, we all want the same things: love, peace, and happiness. Even in the darkest times, we can always find a way to be kind to one another. The Christmas truce teaches us that small acts of kindness can make a big difference, and that we should always strive to bring joy and peace to those around us. The moral of the story: we learn from the Christmas truce that it is always possible to be kind and find peace, even when times are tough. It shows us that we can always make friends, even with people who seem different from us. By being brave and showing kindness, we can bring joy and happiness to others and ourselves. Let us remember that the true spirit of Christmas is about love, peace, and sharing, and we can carry this spirit with us every day of the year.